Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby and this is Abby Reads. Behind me we have Murphy and then Jasper. He's trying to get comfy. I wanted to talk to you today about the books that I read in the month of December. I can't believe we're already in 2026. I feel like December flew by. In the month of December, I ended up reading 15 books. In no particular order, I ended up reading The Apothecary Diaries, Volume 3, 4, and 5. This is a story about a young woman who is sold to the palace to work as a maid, and she proves herself that she has a unique set of skills where she can detect poisons, and so she kind of works her way up to be closer to the royal family, I guess you could say, and she ends up working for one of the royal concubines and then somebody else later on in the series. But it's really interesting. I really enjoy this series. It takes medicine and detective work and kind of mashes it all together, and I really enjoy that about this series. I ended up giving all 3 volumes 5 stars. I just think they're super cute and fascinating reads. They do read very intelligently, and I just find myself keep turning the pages as much as I possibly can. Next, I read The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. I started this book in August of 2023 and I finally finished it. I told y'all I would not be taking this book into 2026 with me, and I did not. I finally finished The Witching Hour and I gave it 2 stars. It was not for me. I'm not going to continue the series. This is one of my mom's favorite books, and I really don't understand why, because there's a lot of words for not much that happens. And I think that was super frustrating to me. I found the history of the Mayfair witches to be interesting when one of our main characters was learning about it, reading like a tome, basically, finding out about the history of this family. Our main character, Rowan, she's supposed to be like the most powerful of her generation, and it doesn't feel that way. It feels like she is just as susceptible as the ones that came before her, and it's really frustrating. So that's why I ended up giving The Witching Hour 2 stars. But I finished it, and I know that I don't need to continue the series. Next, I read Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. This is a thriller. It's actually really interesting. I enjoyed it. Basically, everyone in his family has killed someone, and it kind of gives like a little bit of a backstory, but they are also set to have like a little family reunion, and more bodies turn up, and so they're trying to figure out who the murderer is among all of them when they all have a history of killing somebody. So it's really interesting. I enjoyed it. I think that this was very good to read in winter too, because they are kind of like a ski resort and they're snowed in. So I think this is perfect for winter. I ended up giving this book 3 stars, and I will probably pick up the next book in the series. The next book that I read was The Will of the Many by James Islington. I have heard so much about this book, and for good reason, because this was a good book. I really enjoyed this book. The Will of the Many is about a young man named This, which is very confusing when you're listening to the audiobook. Just throwing that out there. But it's about a young man named This, and he ends up going to an academy and kind of infiltrating the academy. But while he's there, he has to go through these trials. And if you like high stakes, high rewards, political intrigue, this book is for you. I don't want to give too much of the plot away. The magic system in this is very unique. I don't even truly 100% understand it after having read the book, but it is a very good book. I highly recommend it. 4.5 stars. Next, my husband and I finished Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This is the 6th book in the Harry Potter series, and I think this one and The Order of the Phoenix are probably my 2 favorite in the series. I really enjoy these books. For those of you that don't know, Harry Potter is a young man who goes to a magical school named Hogwarts, and there along the way he encounters many challenges, meets lots of friends, but this is the 6th book in the series. Along the way there are poisonings, romance, betrayal. I really like this one. I think this book is such a turning point for Harry and his friends, because they're becoming more mature and acting more like adults and facing larger, more extreme problems. 5 stars. I love this series. Next, I read What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher. This is the second book in the Sworn Soldier series, second to What Moves the Dead. In this book, we are still following our main character, Alex, and she ends up going to a remote town and finds out that there is something called a Moroi haunting the area. She's not really sure if she necessarily believes it, but she's just going to go along with it until she ends up in the clutches of the Moroi. It is a little creepy, I'm not going to lie, but I really did enjoy this book. I gave it 4 stars. Next, I ended up finding a really cute little novella set through Kindle Unlimited. So, rapid fire, I'm going to tell you the title, the author, and my star rating, because I don't remember what all of these are about. They all kind of muddled together in my brain. All Wrapped Up in You by Rosie Danan. I gave this book 4 stars. No Place Like Home by Laura Pavlov. I gave this book 3 stars. Merry and Bright by Ali Rosin. I gave this book 5 stars. And You Better Not Pout by Mia Sosa. I gave this book 4 stars. Next, I read Red Rising by Pierce Brown. If I could describe this in a very short, simple, sweet way, it would be the Hunger Games on Mars, but the participants of the games, so to speak, it's actually an academy. The participants are like the Capitol's children. They are elite. They want to be there. They're striving for this. They want the glory of these games. And it gets really, really interesting. There's a lot of political intrigue. I will say, reading this book and reading The Will of the Many in the same month was a little confusing for me because both books follow the same theme of a young man going undercover and trying to beat the government within. Anyway, both books were fantastic. I also gave this book 4.5 stars, and I will be continuing the series. My husband is like 3 or 4 books ahead of me, so I need to catch up with him. I ended up finding 2 more cute little novellas to round out the end of my December. One of them was Resting Scrooge Face by Megan Quinn. I gave this book 4 stars. And my last book was Cruel Winter with You by Allie Hazelwood, and I ended up giving this book 5 stars. That's all the books that I read in the month of December. Let me tell you about my statistics. I read 15 books, 2 physical, 4 audio, 9 ebook, a total of 4,385 pages. Listen, I read a lot of novellas, but The Witching Hour was 1,200 pages, and then I read 2 600-page books as well. That's an average of 141 pages per day, not including The Witching Hour and Harry Potter. I averaged 1 book every 3 days. My average rating was 4.2, which I think makes it the highest rated month of the year. I read 10 female authors, 3 male authors, and 8 new-to-me authors. And I read 4 YA and 11 adult, and then I read 5 fantasy, 6 romance, 1 thriller, and 3 other. And I think my favorite book of the month is a tie between The Will of the Many and Red Rising. I can't pick between them. They're similar in nature, but also very different. I don't know how else to describe it. I think if I had to pick one, I think I would pick The Will of the Many, because it was a little more original in its story versus what I've read previously when it comes to dystopian novels. But I love them both. I think they were both so good. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're still hanging out with me, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, if you have any recommendations for me in the future, and if you don't know what to comment down below a snowflake emoji, and I will see you guys soon in a new video. Happy reading! Oh my god! Have we talked about this? Stop it. Y'all seen Patch Adams with the guy in the very beginning? He's like, the squirrels are attacking! This one, right here. Oh god, how do I explain this without... How do you explain Harry Potter without explaining Harry Potter? This book, let me tell you, reading The Will of the Many and Red Rising in the same month was very confusing. Don't recommend that, and that's all the books that I read, and then, I don't know if I did a good job explaining that at all.